From the first powered flight in 1903 to the modern-day global network of airlines, aviation has revolutionized the way we connect, trade, and explore the world. Today, flight aviation is the backbone of our global economy and a symbol of human progress. Every year, over 4.5 billion passengers take to the skies, making air travel a key part of daily life. Aviation is not just about travel, it's a lifeline for global commerce, humanitarian aid, and technological advancement. With aviation having such a crucial role in modern society, ensuring the safety of passengers, cargo, and communities on the ground isn't just a task, it's a mission that demands precision, vigilance, and accountability at every level. Among the many organizations the FAA works with is Boeing, one of the largest aerospace companies in the world, known for producing some of the most iconic aircrafts in aviation history. Its most successful model, the Boeing 737, holds the title of best-selling commercial jet of all time. The 737 took to the skies for the first time in 1967 with the launch of the original series. Over a decade later, Boeing introduced the 737 Classic series, featuring upgraded engines, improved aerodynamics, and increased passenger capacity. This set the trend for Boeing, retaining the 737's core design while continuously modernizing it. In the 1990s, the 737 Next Generation series was unveiled, bringing further advancements and remaining in production until 2019. However, in 2010, competition intensified. Airbus announced the A320neo, a more fuel-efficient aircraft that posed a serious challenge to Boeing's dominance. The following year, American Airlines, a longtime Boeing customer, hinted at a major deal with Airbus for over 100 new planes. Boeing faced a critical decision: develop an entirely new aircraft or quickly upgrade the 737 to remain at the forefront of the industry. Pushed by the risk of losing key customers, Boeing's leadership chose the fast-track response, the 737 MAX. It promised greater fuel efficiency and cutting-edge technology, while using an already certified aircraft designed to speed up FAA and worldwide approval. But just 2 years after its debut, the 737 MAX was involved in 2 fatal crashes, raising serious questions about Boeing's design choices and the FAA certification process. At the forefront of this mission stands the Federal Aviation Association, also known as the FAA, an organization dedicated to setting the standards for safety, efficiency, and innovation in the aviation industry. The FAA is an agency under the U.S. Department of Transportation responsible for regulating and overseeing all aspects of civil aviation in the country. Its duties include air traffic control, certification of personnel and aircraft, establishing airport standards, and protecting U.S. assets during the launch or re-entry of commercial space vehicles. The FAA's certification process is rigorous and designed to ensure that all aircraft and components comply with established safety standards. This process involves a thorough review of designs, conformity tests, and operational evaluations before an aircraft receives its airworthiness certificate. Additionally, the FAA issues airworthiness directives to address safety concerns that may arise after initial certification. The FAA establishes policies and standards covering everything from pilot training to aircraft maintenance, ensuring that all aviation operations in the United States are conducted safely and efficiently. Through advisory circulars, the FAA provides guidance on acceptable methods for meeting regulations. While not mandatory, these serve as industry references. On the international level, the FAA influences global aviation certification through programs like the International Aviation Safety Assessment. However, the FAA delegated certain certification functions to aircraft manufacturers through the Organization Designation Authorization Program. This allowed certain manufacturers to self-certify aircrafts. This approach has raised concerns about potential conflicts of interest and the need for stricter oversight to ensure safety. On October 29, 2018, Lion Air Flight 610, a Boeing 737 MAX, departed Jakarta, Indonesia on a routine flight. Just 13 minutes after takeoff, the aircraft plunged into the Java Sea, claiming the lives of all 189 people on board. Less than 5 months later, on March 10, 2019, a second tragedy struck. Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302, also a 737 MAX, took off from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, bound for Nairobi, Kenya. Just 6 minutes into the flight, the plane crashed near the town of Bishoftu, killing all 157 passengers and crew. Preliminary investigations of both incidents quickly identified striking similarities between the 2 crashes. The 737 MAX was designed and advertised as an improved 737. However, raising the position of the new larger engines higher and farther forward on the wing had an unexpected and dangerous consequence. During moments of high thrust such as takeoff, the nose of the plane tended to pitch too far upward, increasing the risk of an aerodynamic stall. Rather than redesign the airframe to correct this and risk falling behind their competitors, Boeing introduced a software solution, the Maneuvering Characteristic Augmentation System, or MCAS. The system was designed to automatically push the nose down if the plane's angle became dangerously high. But since the 737 MAX was marketed as operating exactly like the previous 737, Boeing provided no information about MCAS to pilots or crew. This decision left flight crews unaware of the system's behavior, even as some employees formally reported incidents where the aircraft suddenly pitched downward without warning. Following the tragic crashes of Lion Air Flight 610 and Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302, the FAA certification process for the 737 MAX came under intense scrutiny. Further investigations revealed that key risks, particularly around the MCAS system, were not fully addressed during the original certification. In response, the FAA grounded the entire 737 MAX fleet worldwide and launched a thorough reevaluation of the aircraft's safety. After significant software updates, pilot training enhancements, and further testing, the FAA recertified the 737 MAX in November 2020. These tragic accidents were devastating reminders of how critical design, certification, and oversight are in ensuring safety. With so many lives lost, the question remains, what could have been done differently? How could these tragedies have been prevented? First and foremost, the design of the 737 MAX should have undergone a more thorough evaluation. The decision to raise the engine position without re-engineering the aircraft led to dangerous aerodynamic consequences that could have been caught earlier. Boeing could have also opted for a redesign of the airframe rather than relying on software to address the new issue. The MCAS was introduced as a quick fix. However, the lack of pilot awareness and training about the system was a critical oversight. Pilots and crews should have been thoroughly briefed on the MCAS and how to disable it in an emergency scenario. The FAA's rush certification process also failed to identify these gaps, allowing the plane to be certified without a full assessment of its new risks. In the wake of these tragedies, airlines and regulators have taken decisive actions to ensure something like this never happens again. The 737 MAX has undergone recertification with new software updates to make MCAS less aggressive and provide additional pilot training on its function. The aircraft is now required to meet more stringent safety standards, and airlines are closely monitoring compliance to prevent future incidents. But the question remains, who should be held accountable? Boeing, in its drive to compete with Airbus, prioritized speed over thorough safety measures. They pushed the 737 MAX into the market without fully considering the long-term implications of design changes. The FAA, under pressure, relied too heavily on Boeing's self-certification process, failing to challenge the aircraft's safety with the scrutiny it deserved. From Boeing's perspective, the company was under intense competitive pressure to deliver a product quickly, yet they ultimately failed to balance innovation with safety. From the FAA's side, the responsibility was to ensure that every aircraft, no matter the pressure, adhered to the highest safety standards. Both organizations, along with stakeholders, share responsibility for the oversight that allowed these tragic events to unfold. While engineers do have a responsibility to the company and its stakeholders, it should never overshadow the accountability to the public's well-being. An engineer's primary responsibility is to safeguard the lives of those who will rely on the technologies they create. In this case, Boeing and the FAA had the opportunity and the duty to prevent these tragedies. These tragedies must serve as a reminder that safety must always come first, and that the responsibility to protect lives should never be compromised for any reason.